Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Innovation Coffee. Today, it's going to be about ReactOS. Robert, hey, how's it going?
Hi, Alessandro. Good evening for you, right?
Good evening. Yes.
So you're in the UK. I can tell by your background.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, cool. Yeah, everything's going good over here.
Yeah, and we got something to say, I think, to the audience, right? You're actually on holiday.
Holiday, yeah. So I've had the fortunate opportunity to take 10 full days off in a row. Of course, from the day job. So I have been literally just relaxing, watching movies, hanging around at the house, playing a few video games, and of course, hanging out with people on Discord. So it's been and sleeping in.
What was your best video game, or actually best video game, best movie? I want to know.
Okay, so best video game. It's funny because when you have this much time, like I used to play World of Warcraft a lot, so I picked up World of Warcraft for a little bit this week. And then movie wasn't really a movie, I think, that was my favorite so far this week, but I started watching this show. It's pretty good. It's cheesy but good. Warrior Nun. Have you seen that one on Netflix yet?
No.
Okay, yeah. So it's an adaptation from a graphic novel, but yeah, it's a Warrior Nun. There's like 10 episodes, first season. It's good. It's good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Look what I got. Actually, wait. I got it. So it's the opposite.
Wait, is this Innovation Coffee or Innovation Red Bull?
You remember this? We got it together.
Oh, I do. Yeah, Hackaday, SuperCon.
Hackaday, yeah, SuperCon.
We should coordinate on mugs. We probably have a couple of the same ones.
Sure. Cool. So I'm really excited for today. I mean, today's going to be a really, really, really fun episode. I think there's a lot to learn. There's a lot I don't know about ReactOS, so I'm really curious to dig into it. What do you think?
Yes. Oh, no, I'm excited. ReactOS, it was brought up to me. I saw it in Discord. This person who's joining us, Stanislav, he brought it up on Discord, asked if we could have a channel in there. We made the channel, and it's been awesome. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I've never met him in person until today, and I think that this will be a fun round of questioning and maybe a little demo.
Cool. So I think we should get started. So let's welcome Stanislav to the show. Here we go. Bring him in. Hello. Hi, Stanislav.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Do you have your coffee too, or no?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. What time is it? What time is it over there where you are?
Right now it's evening.
Evening. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Probably not good to drink coffee. Or you won't go to sleep.
Let's see. Oh, look at your T-shirt.
Yes.
ReactOS.
Nice. Cool.
What's your T-shirt, Robert?
This is JFrog. So it says, with great software comes great responsibility.
Oh, I love that.
Play on Spider-Man. Yeah, it is pretty cool. JFrog, though, that's the... I got it at a conference.
I've got... Oh, over here.
Oh, nice. Did you already speak? Did you already speak?
Yeah, I did a talk on Monday. It was actually fun. It's a lot of fun. A lot of interesting questions. Yeah. Cool. So let's cut to chase and let's talk about ReactOS. So, Stanislav, I mean, first of all, let's start with I guess a bit of an intro on you. Like, what are you? What's your background? How did you get to ReactOS? And then we can dive into ReactOS.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Stanislav. I am from Russia, Moscow. I am 28. And I found ReactOS about 6 years ago. It was interesting project for me. As far as I remember, I searched for some undocumented APIs, functions, because I'm a programmer. I program software for Windows. That's my hobby. And I wanted to know more about Windows and its internals. and that's how I entered some function name into Google, and at some link I found this interesting project called ReactOS. I found it very interesting because it's open source implementation of Windows NT kernel and system. So some years I just looked at the project, tried it, experimented some bit with it. At that time, it was 2014 probably. I didn't write code in C before, so I just tried it. And some years after, I officially joined into project as volunteer, and I was able to write my first patch and commit it into the repository.
Awesome. I mean, yes. I read the definition here, or at least how ReactOS wiki defines itself. And it's quite interesting, right? It's like it's basically based. It's a free open source operating system based on the Windows NT architecture, as you said, providing support for existing applications and drivers, and an alternative to the current domain consumer operating system. Compatibility with Microsoft Server 2003 is the ReactOS design goal. So,
yes,
I mean, I guess,
now it is, yes.
Yeah, interesting, right?
It's like a bit of a step into the past.
Yeah, it's cool, but I mean, I guess there is also more about. I was reading a bit of the forums. I think we'll dive into it later, but it's quite interesting because it seems like, obviously Windows. I mean, this is not. It's not a copy of Windows, or it's not really like nobody has taken Windows and worked on it. It's more of a kind of reverse engineering of what, something like Windows would work like, right? So tell us more about.
Here we use clean room reverse engineering and API tests to re-implement stuff and so on. You probably heard about it, yes.
So on that note, real quick, since we're talking about just this high level, what is ReactOS? I think one of the big things I want to get addressed here is what would be like some of those fundamental differences between ReactOS and what I think the open source community is most familiar with, Linux and Linux distro flavors. So like, what would be some of those fundamental differences between ReactOS and, like, say, Debian?
Of course, the very important thing is Linux is a Linux kernel, and ReactOS implements NT kernel. It's basically how Windows works, but Linux is very different thing.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
And of course, in usual mode such as shell, and in ReactOS shell is Explorer and Win32 subsystem, while in Linux you have X server and that kind of stuff. That's pretty different.
What about the contribution process? So I mean, like, being open source, is it the same contribution process? Like, does it follow the same open source methodologies? Are these things all contributed up through, like, GitHub and stuff like that? Is it all kind of very similar process?
Actually, it's not a very difficult process. Right now we using GitHub, and contributions send us pull requests.
Okay, cool.
The only thing we require, so contributions fill their file name and their real email. It's legal stuff. Same thing is required by projects like Wine and Coreboot.
Okay. So, hey, Alessandro, there's a question on here. Not a question, but more so a comment. I'm guessing that this is one of your friends, Stanislav, but Brezgin, I hope I pronounced that right. Sorry if I didn't. But Bresgen says, hey, Stanislav, can you please say about the forks of ReactOS? So, do you know anything about?
I know this guy pretty much. Yes, we are chatting. So yes, of course, since ReactOS is open source project, it have some forks. But actually, as far as I remember, forks are being created, and then after some time, they just disappear because no one works on these forks except maybe creators. While in ReactOS, there are most amount of people here. They concentrate here.
Yeah, when you fork something, you have to have enough of a following. Like enough of the community has to either want that fork to happen, or you have to have created something so much better or different that you can build another community on that fork to maintain it. And I mean, yeah, that's interesting. So it seems like most forks fail, and then maybe the community comes back to the original ReactOS.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So there's another thing in here. They're asking if you can put your audio.
Yeah, I was gonna say, should we ask? Yeah. Do you want to try and Stas? You want to try and put your audio slightly up? I know it was giving some issues earlier, so a little bit.
So little bit. All right. Maybe.
And we'll prepare another question.
That's okay. That's okay. Yes.
Yeah. That's louder, yeah.
Yeah. There was a couple of questions actually. So I think there was a question. So Carlo is asking, is ReactOS reverse engineered from Windows, or is it a clean room implementation?
Okay, so actually clean room technique is also a technique of reverse engineering. So so in a way, it's not possible to implement ReactOS other way. It's reverse engineered, yes, but we are using clean room techniques.
Okay. I'm getting a bit of feedback. I kind of like the other audio more.
Yeah, I think you need to put it slightly lower, Stas, because it's getting a bit of feedback.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It worked backstage. It worked. Everything seemed fine. So we tested this.
Live effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
I set it.
There.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. So you want to get that last question out of the way while we're on it?
What was that? Did you see?
Yeah, from Erkin on the YouTube says, okay, so Stanislav, do you think ReactOS will catch up to Windows before they open source Windows? And I think that there was someone else in here that says, I don't think Windows will ever be open sourced, but.
Okay, well, I think Windows won't be open sourced. Well, maybe except some parts of kernel, but it's highly unlikely. So I think ReactOS have some high chances to catch up with Windows, because right now we re-implementing it's up to NT 5.2. It's Windows Server 1003. And it's important to implement this part because newer versions of Windows can't exist without this base. So eventually we will be able to catch up with latest Windows 10. So yes.
Cool. I think there's another question actually here. So people are not very familiar with. Oh, sorry, no, the wrong one. People are not very familiar with the with what clean room implementation means. Like you said, it's a type of reverse engineering, but what technique?
Yes, of course, I can explain. It's a special technique when you have some black box implementation. You don't have access to its source code, So you have to identify its inputs, outputs, maybe in some middle states, and write application programming interface tests for it, like user mode tests or kernel mode tests. And then you run these tests on Windows and make them success here. And after, you execute these tests on ReactOS, and if something fails, you modify the source of ReactOS and make this success here. That's how it works.
This is actually awesome. So I'm thinking of two things that come to mind. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but one is the concept of like training neural network models. You can train them adversary training, right? Where you got like one that's trying to like be the real machine, and one that's trying to be the fake machine, right? And then you've got another machine that you're trying to train.
Yes.
It's very it sounds like. And the other thing that comes to mind is actually the software technique, software developing technique. That's what's it called? It's the one that you basically do test first, and then you kind of fail the test, and then you re-implement the new features, right? So you always write the test first, and then you fail that test first, and then you implement the feature to pass it, and then you keep on going, right?
Yes, right.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting. I never thought of that as a way of like reverse engineering something, especially when you've got, like in this case, you've actually got Windows that works, right? So you're trying to replicate that with another thing that's it's very interesting. Thank you. That was actually test driven.
Yeah. So I know we're gonna be cutting to everyone's got to be so excited to see a little demo here, right? So Stanislav's going to share a demo, but I have one last question here. So in the explanation we were looking at earlier, it said basically that you could run a Microsoft software, whatever you want, this Windows software on ReactOS, right? So is this, like so true to its word that you can literally just take any Microsoft suite and just run it on ReactOS? Or are there limitations?
That's how it should be.
Just like that, it just works.
Yes.
Okay,
cool.
Actually,
there might be some bugs, and if something don't work, you have to fix it first. But of course, yes, that's how it should be.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's really cool. I'm tempted. I've never tried ReactOS, so I am tempted to at least get it running on something.
You should try it.
Yeah. Two of my three machines, one of them just busted. I got to get Linux back on it. So two of my four machines are running Windows. One is Mac OS, and then my Linux machine busted. But so, all right. Are we ready to steer into the showcase here, Alessandro?
Yeah.
I think we're right on.
I'm excited to actually see it in action.
Yeah.
So we'll give. You've got the floor, Stas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to share your screen.
Yeah.
Okay, it's here.
I can see it. Look at that. Old school.
Old school Windows.
I can even show this thing. It shows all contributors all the time.
Oh wow!
But actually, it's Easter egg.
Are you in there?
Yes, you will see.
It's in alphabetical order.
Yes, it should work.
Oh,
yes,
there
I'm here.
Very cool.
So let's show some applications. We have application manager. It's like in Linux, but it installs Windows software. We can install Firefox, for example. Maybe some old version, because new versions have some known bugs. So it's better to experiment with older versions that confirmed to work quite okay.
So while you do that, someone is saying, sorry, I got the wrong one. Test it from boot. So I think this is a challenge. Test it from boot. But I think the reason, no, but the reason why we didn't, we preloaded it because of time. So we've got, because Stan, you're running on, you're running it on a virtual machine, right?
Actually, it starts pretty fast because I have SSD disk here, so it should be relatively fast. Yes, just let this Firefox installation finish, and I think I can show it.
I think the slower part will probably be the virtual machine initialization.
Maybe, but it's already started, so why not? Let's try it. Restart, okay.
All right, get ready, drum roll.
Let's see
drum roll.
How it goes.
We still need to get a soundboard. It'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I installed here sound drivers. It showed sound.
Let's see.
That's actually super quick.
Yes. I don't hear it right now, but it should be here. Maybe here. Yes, it works.
We couldn't hear it on this end though.
All right. Maybe it's some limitation.
Yeah,
I just love the windows, the look of the windows. They remind me of my childhood.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the little dock on the bottom right and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it definitely has that old school feel. Which I mean, like over time.
Let's Google something. Maybe this.
It's probably not. It's probably just going to be a bunch of coffee and stuff. I don't think we're that famous.
Also, you're googling it in. Interesting. You're googling it in. I guess it's coming up as a Russian. Oh no, but it's giving you English.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not that famous.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
So I'm interested to see a couple things here. I mean, can you maybe run some sort of?
Yes.
I'd like to just see kind of maybe like a standard application. I don't know, Microsoft Word or something that you would run on a regular Windows machine. And then I'm also interested to see. I don't know if you have any games downloaded. Like I don't know. I'm kind of just interested in seeing something, something graphical, something that
For Word, you probably.
I'm sorry. Oh, there he is.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so WordPad. There you go. This is ReactOS. Nice.
Awesome.
All right, so we got something going there.
So what I love is the fact that a bunch of people got together and decided to recreate something. I mean, it must be like so much fun to like just kind of just recreate a working Windows from scratch, right? It sounds like a humongous task. Like it sounds like one of the probably biggest tasks that like, especially because it's not many people, right? You were telling me earlier how many developers have worked on ReactOS overall, would you say?
Overall, there are around 100 people, and just 10 people are active.
Wow.
So on this note, I kind of want to I'm wondering about, because something was shared in the ReactOS channel, I believe. This is not too long ago in Discord about the ReactOS ARM ports. So I'm kind of curious how advanced or how far along ReactOS ARM ports are. I mean, like, is it fully functioning as well if I were to run this on an ARM machine?
Unfortunately, it's not here because this port was started some years ago by some student. as far as I remember, and sometimes after it just regressed and didn't boot anymore. So right now, it would be nice to get some regular contributions for it. Regular maintainers, yes.
That's so a call to action.
Yes, so we can revive this port and just run it on maybe Raspberry Pi and so on. These ARM devices, it will be pretty nice.
Yeah, the last contribution, it looks like, happened in April of 2020, so not too long ago. And it says the ReactOS Applications Manager was able to start on Windows 10 for ARM32. So yeah, I would definitely like to make this a call to action for anyone who's interested in looking into this or who enjoys doing these types of things. It'd be pretty cool to see someone from this community pick that up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, nice. Alrighty.
They were saying there is a message here from the chat that they're saying that there's actually a working there is a port for original Xbox and a port for NEC PC98 work in progress. I think you were saying, Stas, you were working on was it the Xbox?
Actually, also, Stas,
yes.
can you reset your camera real quick? I think your camera froze.
Okay, moment. 1 moment. I'll try it. So, for some reason.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
This is my mobile phone.
Oh, okay.
Are you actually streaming that from? No, okay. This is not the ReactOS. No, okay. For a second, I thought you were streaming from ReactOS there.
Yeah, and also real quick. So Alessandro did share the link there. If you want to go to the ReactOS wiki for ARM ports, you can see all the updates that have happened. I'll definitely be sharing this in Discord too for those of you who are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what. I think it'd be cool to have it running on a Raspberry Pi. That would be just awesome.
Yeah, it would be nice.
So where were we? We were talking about the Xbox.
Oh, port. Yes. I found this very interesting port. It had some stuff like talking directly to video hardware. So I was interested and decided to review it. It became in 2018. And firstly, I tried to review low-level BIOS for Xbox, and I communicated with Xbox developer community. They have their own Discord server. So there we decided to review Cromwell Farmer, and it worked. Then I started to work on Freeloader. Freeloader is bootloader for ReactOS. It's we can compare it somehow with NTLoader, but this one is free and open source, just like ReactOS, because it's part of it. And then I fixed some bugs here and there, and now it works. Well, actually, there are still some bugs like USB input and some other bugs. They still need to be fixed, but I hope eventually I will be able to fix this.
Awesome. So, did you say you also work on Windows? Like you work on actual the real Windows?
Yes.
Did you say that earlier? Yeah.
Yes. Right now I'm on Windows.
So is there I mean, as in, like, do you also code applications for Windows?
Oh yes, this was my hobby. I implemented some applications for Windows. There are different applications, but I am interested in information security. Well, one of my application is router scan. It's this tool can scan routers, display some information about it, and show whether this device is vulnerable or not. You can simply start application, check your IP address, and it will display all information about your device if it can detect it. But it's just one of my applications. I have a bunch
cool.
of it, actually.
I'm curious, actually, how long or how hard is it to port a Windows application on ReactOS? I mean, you built your own application on Windows, then how hard is it to port it to ReactOS right now?
You don't need to port it. You just copy binary file and start it there.
And it always
just works.
Not always, but it should.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, this is a good one though. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying it's.
I was just gonna say. Yeah, it is.
That's
I mean, because like that's
of ReactOS.
Yeah, because you're not usually used to that. I think in a lot of situations, like when you move from one operating system to another, right? I mean, like granted, this is just works, right? But yeah. Anyways, so there's a question in the chat that I think resonates with me as a gamer. The same person who asked the question earlier, Bresgen, he says, what about games? And I want to kind of expand on this one, right? So, people choose Windows, I think, primarily when they are gamers. Like that is kind of like people build gaming machines and they have to choose Windows because Windows has all the enablement for games. Can you run, a client like Steam, which has, I think, tens of thousands or millions of games on there, and do those games then work? Like, does Steam work on ReactOS? Can you just play games like you would on a regular Windows machine? And just, I'm wondering, I feel like you're just going to say, yeah, it just works, but.
As far as I remember, one person in our community was able to run Steam, and he was able to download some game and run it. I don't remember which game it was, but I think some games didn't start. Some games start maybe to main menu and it can't start actual game. But some other games will work just now, yes, in latest nightly release. I think yes.
Awesome. I think that it's worth. I think that's something that maybe if I ever did put ReactOS on a machine and start testing stuff out, that's probably something that I would test out and feedback to the community.
Well, actually, it's not the right time to try ReactOS on real hardware because it's still in alpha. So it's not recommended to run on real machine. So you don't have to. You should back up all your data because who knows, it can corrupt it. Yeah. Well, so if you want to test it, it's better to use some virtual machine like VirtualBox or VMware or QEMU or some other virtual machine.
So that's good to note that it's in alpha right now. And I think that actually brings up a question in here from Decompiler. Boom, you just pulled it up. Yeah, so you say that it's in alpha right now. The question is, at current development speed, when do you foresee a beta 1 to be released? And then to 2023 or 2025? Or when is this going to be ready, like for a beta?
It's actually a very hard question because it's hard to estimate time. Maybe it will be 2013, maybe 30, maybe it will be 20. Maybe it will be 4,000.
Did you say 3,000?
Yes.
Oh man!
I guess the big question is, how many core maintainers are there? Like, is there a number? I mean, yeah, what is the number of core maintainers?
There are around 100 maintainers. The active one probably maybe 15 or so people. But right now, in the summer, we have low activity actually. That's unfortunate, but it's summer.
But I guess my big question is, so I think it goes back to what the goal of ReactOS is, right? Because I mean, if you were trying to go after Windows, you would never stop, right? I mean, you would never be ready for beta, right? But I guess your objective stays always the same, right? You're always going after Microsoft Server 2003, correct? Is that right?
Well, actually, previously ReactOS target was previous operating systems. I remember that in 22 year, its target was NT4 Windows, and
Okay.
sometimes after the target become Windows 2000, and just some time after they switched to 2003.
Interesting. So it keeps on moving. So if it's a moving target,
Yes,
I mean, it's gonna be hard to.
yes.
It's gonna be hard to like ever release, right? Because it's like you're never gonna be feature complete because it's like the features are always being increased, right? So I think that's interesting. So how does the group work? Like who sets the targets? Like how does that work? Is there a discussion on a forum? Like how does that work? That process?
We have a chat. It's MetaMost chat, and here we sometimes start private meetings where we discuss stuff. What is ready, what needs some testing. Do we have some regressions and what needs to be fixed? And usually sometime before we start meeting, people send emails to mailing list if they want to add something to the agenda. And if someone decides that we need to bump our target, we will discuss this in the meeting whether we decide to move or not. This will be the result.
And is it just voting? Like, does everybody have one vote? Like everybody on the meeting has the same value of the vote, same weight of the vote?
Well, it's hard to say. Actually, I can say internally we have some levels, if it's possible to name it so. But actually, most people in the community have equal rights, less or somehow like that.
Cool. I mean, that's really cool. No, I was just asking because I'm curious, right? Like, it's interesting when there is some open source projects like Linux, for example. They've got like steering committees, and it's very structured, right? Where this, I think, is more of a kind of like community of developers that get together and make decisions without really too much structure. So it's quite interesting, right? It's interesting because obviously it requires coordination, right? And you have to agree on things, and I think it's always a challenge when you have multiple people all over the world.
Yes, we had previously different coordinators, but right now our community is somehow coordinated itself.
Awesome. I mean, that's really good to know. Do you know where the other people? Do you know where the other people of the community are? Like everybody, everywhere around the world, or specifically in one area?
Most people in the community we have they are mostly in Europe, Germany, Austria, Russia, and other European countries. Cool. We have some people from America, yes, but there are not so many people. Most of them are from Europe.
Go Europe. That's awesome. No, it's really nice to hear. I mean, it's really nice to hear that you have this active community that like actually decides on things together and everything works, perfectly. And yeah, it's really a really nice world to hear about. Robert, you were about to say something.
I was, yeah. So I think that it's important, since we're talking about all this stuff, that we share the resources. and we didn't collect this stuff beforehand from Stanislav. So I don't know if we can maybe start doing some ad hoc sharing of some links. If you want to, in the Steam channel, you have access to Stanislav. You can post some links that then we can start sharing into the YouTube channel and maybe here on Steam on StreamYard, so that the people who are watching can get access to this stuff. And also, we'll make sure that if anyone watches this afterwards, we can maybe throw those links in the description, because this sounds like a great community to be a part of. And if you're watching this and you want to start either running this on your virtual machine and or contributing to this community, it would be, you'll have the resources that you need to get access to this. So yeah, so it looks like he's sharing these links. So we'll definitely start putting them in the chats. Yeah, and then it looks like there was some comments up here about when we were talking about the games. 03K6 was saying that he got Steam working, and that there are some games that he tried out. There's a game that he tried out that he recommended in there, which looks fun. Kokoro Clover, $5 game. Maybe have to try that out on my machine just to see if it's worth it. But yeah, cool. So wanted to make sure we were sharing those links.
Yeah, Stanislav just shared this the Matemos chat. Can anybody get on this chat, or do you have to be part of the community? How does it work?
You have to register an account, and then you can access it along with other services as forum, wiki, and all that stuff. We have a single sign-on system, so you create just one account and you can access our resources.
Does this include like a forum?
Yes, we have forum.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a very active forum, actually. I mean, I was strolling to the forum, and actually I was surprised to see how active. I mean, I'll just share it here just because so people can see. It's actually quite interesting. I mean, look at this general discussion. Look at the number of posts on the general discussion tab.
Oh wow!
I mean, that's quite impressive. And yeah, it seems like the community is super active. So it's I'm really curious to get involved. Actually, I'm really interested. And I was going to share also the other link of so if you want to contribute, this is like where you find more information.
We also on this page we also have some variants of paid work. You can probably look at it and decide if you want to work on ReactOS for money. It's an option. You can.
So it's like a bounty board type thing.
Paid jobs here.
Paid jobs.
Yes, paid jobs. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, it looks like there's contracted work. This is something that's really interesting. I've heard some people talk about this kind of stuff in open source communities where they take they create a sort of bounty board for people who, like contracted work is what I'd imagine. This is kind of like what it is, where you pick something that needs to get developed or contributed, and then you put a price to it, and someone can check that out and do it. But yeah, I mean, this is probably not that, but I've always been very interested in the whole bounty board aspect of open source communities.
Sorry, I was just going to go back to the games. I'm really excited now. GTA Trilogy works. I mean, so Sarnodil is saying that actually classic GTA Trilogy works with some tinkering. I wonder how much tinkering, but that's awesome, actually.
So now someone came in here. Yeah, okay, real quick on the GTA Trilogy, the top-down one, the original 3. I think it was the original 3 that had that, where you have this top-down view and you're this little character that's running along. You're just looking up from the top. We played Hot Seat on that game very, very much when I was younger, and that was a very fun game. So yes. 2 is someone just joined from Green Tea OS. I've never heard of Green Tea OS. Is this someone that React? I'm sorry, Stanislav or
Well, actually, I remember this one. Firstly, it was a fork of ReactOS, but sometime after it became a separate system, which is not based on ReactOS at all. It was their developers' decision, so it's okay.
Yeah, no, totally. But so this kind of goes back to that original question that we had at the beginning was, hey, forks of ReactOS, but this started off as a fork.
Yes.
Cool. Alrighty. Well,
I think there's another interesting question from Isidore. He's asking, when will ReactOS be properly supported on Hyper-V? Do you have any idea? I mean, do you feel free to say no, but
well, as far as I remember, we have some bugs in the kernel, especially in plug and play manager, and these bugs don't allow to run ReactOS and boot it on Hyper-V. But I think eventually we will fix these bugs and people will be able to run it here. Because it should work. It's just an emulator. Yes, it's a hypervisor, but still it should work.
I just love that. Like usually when when we talk about porting from different operating systems and stuff like that, it's always a lot of work, right? Where here it's like, well, if it doesn't work, it's because the operating system hasn't been written it hasn't been written to that extent yet, right? So you just have to improve the operating system. I mean, ideally it should all work, right? It should just work. So if it doesn't, it's because there is some missing things that you haven't implemented yet, right? So it's interesting.
Exactly, yes.
It looks like Mark just also kind of added to this is that at least one of the developers uses Hyper-V to run ReactOS.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So it should work.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then I think we've actually got. So I'm not sure if. So Daniel said I made it. I don't know if he refers to Mario 64 port. I've asked, but he hasn't replied yet. So I don't know if he's made the Mario 6. So someone was talking about Super Mario 64.
His picture popped up.
I heard about it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Or he could have just joined the show and said, "I made it."
Yeah.
All right.
We could have sent the link. I mean, actually, you know that Robert, you know that StreamYard now has up to 10 people that you can have in the same live room. So we could bring more people. Maybe one day we could just put the link on the chat.
First 10 to join.
Chat. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So Daniel says no, he made it to the stream. He did not make the Mario 64 port.
I see.
That was inconveniently placed.
Reply.
All right.
Yeah. Cool. Well, this was awesome. I mean, I'm really excited. Actually, I need to try. I think my exercise for the weekend will be just pick a game, like an old game, and try it on ReactOS. And if it doesn't work, try and figure out why. And maybe send you a message on Discord because I probably won't be able to solve it.
Yeah. It would be nice to have new contributions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited.
On that note, Alessandro, do you mind if we share the Discord link here real quick? So if anyone does want to join in on the ReactOS channel for DevEco.
Yes. Here we go.
There you go. So there is a ReactOS channel there, and of course, Stanislav actually runs that channel, and he is allowed to forward people out of the server to anywhere else where ReactOS is where the community is and where all the resources are. So if there's another ReactOS Discord channel, he can post it in there, and you can kind of branch off from there. But definitely worth checking out and coming into that channel. All three of us are in there too. So there's plenty of other channels and cool things to do in that server. We'd love to have you all in there.
One more question. I think there's a couple other really interesting questions. One is from iShotJR that's asking, he's saying really cool topic. So thank you, Stas, again for talking to us about ReactOS. But he's asking what are the minimum specs to run it?
So minimum specs are around 50 megabytes of RAM and Pentium or higher CPU.
Okay.
You said 50 megabytes of RAM? Holy crap! That's like nothing.
I mean, it's 2000. What was it? I'm actually interested. When was the Windows NT? I think it's 26 years ago. So that's how. Like that's what.
I don't think I've heard
anyone
talk in terms of megabytes of RAM. That's so long.
So I guess the question the answer should have probably been, Stas, you should have probably just said, there's no limitations. I mean, you could use it everywhere.
But so when you're allocating resources from your VM or from your virtual machine, I guess you can really, really cut it tight if you wanted to. And cool.
Well, I guess I would come to an end. So I just wanted to ask you, Stanislav, if you got anything you want to add or anything you wanted to talk about last minute or so. Final thoughts.
So, shameless plug. This is your chance to say whatever you want.
Well, it was nice to join this meeting, this live stream. It's probably the first time I'm live streaming myself with other people. So it was fun.
You did really well.
Yeah, you did awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you did really, really well. So yeah, I'm glad that we had the opportunity to talk to you. And we've been talking for a while, chatting, but it really is a pleasure to meet you in teleperson, I guess, however you'd say that, virtually like this. So it's really cool. Yeah,
and I'm gonna just post the ReactOS page for last time. So this is where you could get the ReactOS to try it out. Excuse me.
Yes.
So yeah, well, it was really fun for me as well. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've learned that actually you could build operating systems in a different way from what I've always thought. I always thought like you start from scratch, where here you're actually trying to replicate something else. So it's really interesting. It's a completely different mindset. Thank you so much for sharing your love for ReactOS. It was fun. And thank you for joining us. Robert, do you have any last thoughts?
No, yeah, same. Just echoing what Alessandro said. Thank you very much for being here. And if anything ever comes up, like if you have a new alpha release coming out and you want to just join the show real quick to talk about it, you're always welcome back. And also, I guess I should say, everyone in the YouTube channel, sorry, the YouTube channel's over here for me. Everyone in the YouTube channel, you all were freaking awesome. Like, thank you for all the questions and, the ReactOS community who joined, and, really, really grateful to have you all here. And likewise, if there's ever any cool stuff happening in the ReactOS, ecosystem, feel free to ping Alessandro or myself or even, Stanislav, and he'll connect you with us. And we'll get another ReactOS episode going sometime in the future. So yeah, thanks for all the community who showed up. Yeah. This was fun. Yeah.
Maybe next time we could play a game across the three of us on ReactOS.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. We'll have all our three screens there. Cool. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right. See you next week. Bye.